We were in a madrasa in Nottingham, in Flintham, in Newark. This was in the 90s. We came to a building that was an old RAF building that had been deserted for 20 years. So we were now coming into this, and we were going to start using this as a madrasa. Now when we came there, one of our teachers, he said to us, he said, because we started off living in one corner, and we're going to slowly start using the rooms till the other side of the madrasa. Now this place had 120 rooms, yeah, and it had about 3 different halls, massive. We had an east wing, a west wing, a middle sort of part, and we were in the east wing, and we were just staying just in a few rooms. We were talking about literally about 7 or 8 rooms. And teachers said, they said, don't go to the west side, to the west side of the building. I'm telling you, you know, as young people, you dare yourselves, right? Yeah. So we said, come on, let's dare to go over there, right? So we were young, and we went into the west side in broad daylight, 12 o'clock. I'm telling you, it was spooky at 12 o'clock. Forget 12 in the night. We're walking, and we were holding our arms, and we were walking together, about a good 7 or 8 of us. As we're walking, we can hear doors banging, bang, bang, creaking, things opening. You know, we just run. We were saying, you know, our kalimas loudly, shahadas loudly, what about that loudly, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, basically we're running, yeah? Now, you can imagine this place was really spooked up. And the teachers warned us, you know, don't go over there. Now what happened is one of these, there's this young kid, I'm not going to give you his name, he's probably grown up now, he's probably got kids now, all right? So I don't want to embarrass him when some of you might confront him. But he was from up north, and he was a kid, about 13 years old, I'd say, from Bangladesh. He didn't know a word of English. Forget anything else, right? He just knew Bengali. And he was the most quietest kid you can imagine. Just quiet, just sticks to himself, and that's it. And he's trying to become a hafiz of the Qur'an, and he only has done 1 juz. So one day what happens is that he sort of strays off, I don't know, he goes over to the other side, and he comes back. And no one sort of takes much notice of it, but he comes back, and the evening when we're all sitting together and we're sort of reading, I wasn't there in the hall at that time, but there were others who said it, but then I went over to the hall to verify this. So this is something that I have verified myself. What happened is that he came with his Qur'an up to his teacher. You can imagine a kid who's lallu pattu, who doesn't know a single thing, yeah? He comes with the Qur'an to his teacher, puts it right in front of him, and he says to him, he says, test me. And he doesn't say in English, he says it in Arabic. Now his kid suddenly knows Arabic, right? So he says, test me. And his teacher looks at him and he thinks, is he having a laugh? You know, those days, you know, the beats were a common thing, right? I think, shall I just make spaghetti out of him, you know, like, yeah? So this kid just says, no, test me, any way you want, yeah? So the teacher says, okay, the Qur'an's closed. He said, okay, read from the 15th juz. So, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdi laylan min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa alladhi barakna hawla. And the teacher looks at him and thinks, what is happening to this kid? So the teacher then tests him from another place, and this kid now knows the Qur'an, and the kid challenges the teacher in speaking Arabic. And this kid has got really good Arabic all of a sudden, right? And then, you know, when we heard this, we came over, and I specifically went, you know, met him, and I started talking, and he started talking Arabic. Weird. So then we thought, okay, you know, whatever has happened, miracle of God, you know, you wait. What happens is now this kid is acting really weird, because he goes and he gets a hair clipper, and he shaves half of his head, and he leaves the other half as it is. Takes his hat off, walks down the corridor with half of his hair on one side long, and the other half is completely shaven. Now kids are freaking out. Jin, 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 jin. Right? So then, you know, the teacher grabs hold of him and says, well, you got to basically just shave the other half, so the shave the other half. So we've done that. Now, and he's acting all weird. He's doing things that sort of abnormal. So he then goes to bed, and okay, he's gone to bed. At about 2 in the night, all these kids, there's 6 to a room, and there's 3 bunk beds in every single room. So there's sort of 2 on every sort of bunk bed. 2 in the night, 5 of them from that room, from his room, come running down the corridor, yeah, banging on the principal's door, yeah. Jin, 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 jin. So the principal gets up, says, "What's the matter?" Jin, 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 jin. And the principal comes in, and there's only one kid sleeping. It's that one kid, the one that shaved his head, right? The one that knows Arabic all of a sudden now. Yeah? He said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Nothing." So they go back. He said, go back. Puts the ball in bed, comes back. And he says, after a little while, these kids are screaming back again. Down the corridor, knocking on his door, jin, jin, jin. So he said, "What is it that was happening?" They go, "When we go into our bed places," yep. Imagine this guy's name is Imran. I'm not saying his real name, yeah? Imagine his name is Imran or something. They said that we hear all across the wall something dragging its nails or whatever it is and saying, so basically they just obviously leapt out of their beds, yeah, came straight to the principal. Now this went on all night. Yeah. Him taking them to their beds, then basically coming back. So then the morning came, and the main sort of teacher, Muhammad Fadl Rahim Sahib, he called him over, and I was there serving breakfast. Now what's common is in exorcism is that you would recite something, and when you recite it, you're able to, when you recite something, some part of the Qur'an, then the jinn gets affected because they can't stand the Qur'an, and then they will leave, or they will beg to leave. In this case, this jinn was a believing jinn, and this jinn was a hafiz of the Qur'an, and this jinn knew Arabic. So when the teacher was reciting something on, and trying to recite something to blow on it, the jinn inside this human being was reciting the adverse ayah to break the effect of that. It was not any common jinn that was in here, and I'm sitting there watching this. So the shaykh is reciting, and this jinn is undoing whatever recitation he's doing. And it was, the shaykh saying, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَتَنُوا الْمُؤْمِنَ وَالْمُسْلِمَانَ لَمْ يَتُوبُوا فَلَهُمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابُ الْحَرِيقِ. And this other jinn from inside will recite something else. So it's undoing whatever the shaykh was saying. So after a while, when the students sort of left the room, I asked the shaykh confirmed that this is what he's doing. And then the shaykh said that the only way to actually get rid of the influence is to take this young boy back to his hometown and to leave him there for 1 month. He said the reason why this has happened, and these guys, I'm saying this, that you won't believe in this unless you deal with this. There are certain things that you will not believe in unless you deal with it. So if you've got unbelief in anything I'm saying to you that I'm making Allah witness, whatever I saw, I'm just telling you. You just need to start witnessing some of this yourself, and you start believing in it. So the shaykh himself was able to witness some jinns. And he witnessed a whole group and a family of jinns that had traveled from outside and stayed in that west wing for a month. And he had this feeling that they were there only for 1 month. So he said, if this young boy goes to his hometown, then whatever jinn is, he said there's a young jinn inside him who's a hafiz of the Qur'an. And if he stays in his hometown, the boy stays in his hometown, then the jinn will automatically leave because his family are leaving this west wing after a month. So we took him home, and as we were taking him, my God, I was sitting next to him on his left hand side in a car. He was right in the middle. He wanted to, he was going to open the door when we were going 70 miles an hour. He reached to open the back door, the car door. And the teacher stopped him, and the teacher gave him a good shouting. And then he basically stayed there until we got to the place. We left him in his home for 1 month. After 1 month he came back, and he was the same docile kid you knew. Looked down while he walked, never knew a word of English or Arabic, and only knew 1 juz of the Qur'an.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قل أوحي إلي أنه استمع نفر من الجن فقالوا إنا سمعنا قرآنا عجبا يهدي إلى الرشد فآمنا به ولن نشرك بربنا أحدا